What's up, everyone? Welcome to Lowered Expectations. Thanks for lowering your expectations and hanging out with me here. I do appreciate it. In today's video, we are going to put to rest a decades-old argument: what is better, Coke or Pepsi? On my other YouTube channel, which is the Joel Ultrasonic YouTube channel, I recently tore apart one of my Jetski engines, which is a Kawasaki 1100 triple, link in the description below, and as a result of that, I now have a bunch of greasy, grimy, rusty bolts. So in today's video, we are going to find out what is better, Coke or Pepsi, at removing rust, grime, and grease. As a baseline, we're also going to use a no-name CLR, so let's get into the test. And here are the contenders. We have our classic Coke, regular old Pepsi, and no-name brand CLR, which is rust, calcium, and lime remover. I've got my nuts and bolts and washers all spread out. And I don't have triplets of everything, so what I do have two of will go in the Coke and the Pepsi, one in each. And if I have multiples, then I will put them Coke, Pepsi, and CLR. Also, the worst of the bunch, these two bolts are quite nasty and rusty. They will be going in the Coke and Pepsi, and I have these two over here, which are not quite as nasty and rusty. That will be going in the CLR. I kind of doubt that these products, any of them, will be good at cleaning grease or grime, and so we're going to run these through a half-hour cycle and see if it removes any of the grease and grime. If not, we will run them all through the same degreaser and then put them back in for another test where we see if it removes the rust. Quite honestly, that is what I am most curious about. Yep, that's warm Coke. There's something really strange but oddly satisfying about pouring Coke into a container of bolts. Pepsi time. Yep, that's Pepsi. The CLR I've actually used in a couple other projects already, so it's in a different container, diluted in water, but here it is. I now have the Coke and Pepsi in the Viver 10-liter ultrasonic cleaner, and I'm about to turn it on. The solution inside of the cleaner actually is just clean tap water, and I've scooted the camera up here. We're going to turn it on. We might see some really interesting bubbling action going on here, so let's turn it on and find out. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Just doing some work on my Jetski for the Joel Ultrasonic YouTube channel. Hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are interested in doing your own silly experiments or perhaps actually cleaning something with a proper cleaning solution, well, you too can own a Viver Ultrasonic cleaner. As a matter of fact, I have an affiliate link in the description below. If you use that link, it helps me out as I get a small kickback, and it helps you out as well because there is also a discount code for 5% off. If that sounds like something you're interested in, feel free to go check it out. I gotta get back to work now. Oh yeah, look at that Coke. Wow. A half hour has passed, the ultrasonic cleaner has shut down, and we are now going to pull a few things out and compare them and see if they've actually cleaned up at all. I kind of suspect that we're not going to see a whole lot of degreasing action from either of these cleaners or the CLR. Alright, we've got the Pepsi over here and the Coke here. Let's see if they make a fizzing sound. I don't think they're really that well sealed. No fizzing sound. Alright, I've got to reach in there and try to grab a few bolts out. Well, it didn't remove the rust, that's for sure. Still lots of rust. Here we go. These ones were greasy. And as you can see, it did not remove the grease. So far, no rust removed. Or actually, it looks like some of the rust is actually wiping off. That is interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to pull out some of the stuff from the Coke. We'll try to find that one big bolt and some of these smaller greasy ones. Hey, you know what? I think the Coke is working already on the rust on this bolt. Oh, wow. That is definitely cleaning the rust. How crazy is that? Okay, let's see if we can find some of the, here we go, some of them small bolts. And the grease isn't coming off. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually clean these bolts off with a degreaser, and then I'm going to come back. I'm not going to show you the process of cleaning them with the degreaser because, well, that's not part of this test. I now have the bolts all degreased. The Coke bolts, the Pepsi bolts, and the CLR bolts are actually underneath the tripod, underneath the camera. So, because I think the Coke might have actually already cleaned this bolt better, you can see this bolt looks better than this bolt already. What I'm going to do, I'm going to switch these bolts up. So this was the Coke bolt. This was the Pepsi bolt. I'm actually going to switch them up. And then I've got these two little pieces off of my classic Austin Mini. They are a little bit rusty. So that's going in the Coke. And this one is going in the Pepsi. We now have the degreased bolts in the Coke and the Pepsi, and we are going to run them through a cycle, and then we'll do the CLR separately. So let's get this started. All right, folks, the moment of truth has arrived. We are about to find out what is actually better, Coke or Pepsi. And then we are going to use CLR as a control and see if it truly is king. There is no fizziness left to it whatsoever. The Coke seems to be a different color. It seems to have remained more clear. All right, folks, it is time for the moment of truth. We have Coke on the left, Pepsi on the right. Here is the Pepsi bolt in my right hand, and this is the Coke bolt. And I think they're both a little bit cleaner than they were when I put them in, but I don't think one did much better of a job than the other. Same goes for these very rusty brackets that I put in afterwards. They both look like they are less rusty. They are cleaner and they look like they have less rust on them. It looks like the Pepsi one is actually cleaner. So far that's wins for the Coke. Let's see, we've got our hemispherical joints here. This one has actually broken free a little bit. It's not totally free, but it is actually moving. It wouldn't move at all before. And this one was in the Pepsi. Let's see if our Coke one can move at all. Ooh, folks. Could this be the definitive answer? The Heim joint in the Coke will not move, but the Pepsi joint is moving somewhat. Look at that. Ooh, that's starting to look like the Pepsi is the winner. In my left hand, I have the Coke studs. And in my right hand, I have the Pepsi studs. I don't really see a whole lot of a difference. Some of the Coke ones look better and some of the Pepsi look better. So I would say this is inconclusive. Once again, I'm gonna say that the Pepsi ones actually look better. We'll wipe the Coke. Yeah, look at that. That washer compared to these. This one has a bit of schmoo on that side. But I would say the Pepsi ones look better. Let's see, we'll get... This one is stuck on the bolt, so I'm not going to try to take it off, but it looks pretty good. And we have our Coke ones. Oh yeah, look at this. This is the Coke. This is the Coke washers, and these are the Pepsi washers. That is 3 wins for the Pepsi so far and no wins for the Coke. I would say these results are inconclusive. They look very similar to me. So the rest of the bits and pieces are stainless steel, which don't rust, so there is still some Loctite on the threads of these bolts. The Coke and the Pepsi are the same. So I am going to have to declare Pepsi the winner. Pepsi is in fact better than Coke. After this extremely scientific discovery that Pepsi is actually better than Coke at removing rust in an ultrasonic cleaner, we are now going to put all of our bolts, washers, nuts in this Mountain Dew looking stuff and see if it is better at removing rust than Coke or Pepsi. This is actually CLR, and I'm fairly certain it's going to work better than both of them, but there's only one way to find out, so let's give it a try. I am now going to put all of the Coke parts, all of the Pepsi parts, and all of the parts that we initially had in the CLR into the CLR and start it up. There we have it, folks, all of the bolts, nuts, washers, and studs from an 1100 triple Kawasaki teardown. Now going in with some CLR into the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm going to pour the CLR out into this container. And I'm going to have to rinse these bolts off because they are pretty nasty. Just from sitting in all that sludge. As you guys can clearly see by this beautiful spread of Kawasaki 1100 triple fasteners, the clear winner of this test is the CLR, or in this case the no-name CLR. Although Pepsi and Coke may be second-rate cleaners, if you really want the job done properly, I would skip out on that and go straight to the CLR or a substitute like I have. In all seriousness though, this is an excellent example of what the best use that I have found for the Viver ultrasonic cleaner, and that is cleaning small bits like this. Ordinarily, this would take a lot of elbow grease. You would have to use a wire wheel and a bunch of break-in parts cleaner and compressed air, and it would just take a lot of time. If I wasn't doing this for a video, I would have just thrown all of the parts into a degreaser and then all of the parts into the CLR, and this would have been over in a few hours. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, and some of these parts did not come out 100%. As you can see, these brackets off of my classic Mini, all of the rust came off of them. They came perfectly clean. Some of these studs, for some reason, still have a little bit of surface rust on them. And although this ball joint, or this hemi joint, did free up completely, this one is still completely frozen, and this one, while it is moving some, it hasn't completely freed up. So I am going to throw a couple pieces back in, but because I need to get this video edited and posted, I am going to do that stuff off camera. Well, there you have it, folks. The answer to the question that literally everyone had: what is better, Coke or Pepsi? And the answer to that question, of course, is the Viver Ultrasonic Cleaner with CLR. In all seriousness, the Pepsi actually seemed to do a little bit better job at removing rust than the Coke, but I would personally stick to drinking my Coke and Pepsi and use a Viver Ultrasonic Cleaner for cleaning rust and grime off of my parts. This thing is really handy for cleaning nuts, bolts, jet ski parts, carburetors, all sorts of household goods. And if you want to pick up one for yourself, there is an affiliate link in the description below. If you use that link, it helps me out as I get a small kickback, and there's also a discount code down there for 5% off. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, go down there and check it out. Congratulations, you made it all the way to the end of a Lowered Expectations video. Give yourself a pat on the back and a high five. As I've stated throughout this video, the parts that we were cleaning in this test were parts off of one of my jet skis. I'm currently doing some work over on the Joel Arsenault YouTube channel. I'm doing some porting on my jet ski engine, and that's why the engine was tore all apart. So I just finished doing some porting on the cylinders and on the upper case that I just showed you. The tool that I am using for doing the porting work is this Viver Flex Shaft rotary tool. It has been working really amazing. I actually ported one other engine with that already, and I purchased that with my own money, not affiliated with Viver in any way. But I am very happy with the tool. I plan on doing a review on that at some point in the future. I will be releasing the build videos for this engine over on the Joel Arsenault YouTube channel, and then after the build work is done, I'm actually going to be installing an aftermarket programmable ECU. Wow, that was hard to say. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, go check out my other channel, link in the description below. And if not, I will see you here again next time on Lowered Expectations. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.